If you are feeling tightness in your throat, it is a matter of presence and losing groundedness in the body while expressing. Ultimately, the goal of our singing practice is to achieve what I call complete vocal authorship. It is when we are able to express ourselves in a way that feels 100% intentional and grounded and fulfilling. So when we're feeling tight in the throat, and this seems to be something persistent, it's really an issue with being present in the moment. We are not tapped into the cycle of our breath within our ideas. This is something that we cover a lot in our opera training. If we have a line that we want to sing, we have to think about how we're going to sustain ourself through that. And so that has to do with, first, how the breath is and where we're starting. Could be the onset, and where are we going, which is our offset, right? And throughout the whole thing, we need to be grounded in our breath. Like right now, if I think about it, I have this idea that I'm trying to elaborate to you right now, right? So if I think about it, I take my breath, right? I take my breath. And then as I'm explaining this idea to you, I'm still grounded in the fact that I feel presence in my pelvic floor and in my back as I finish that sentence. When we are feeling the tightness here is because we're not connected to how the breath is carrying our phrase. That could be public speaking, that could be singing, anything. So this is where a little bit of preparation comes in beforehand, right? You want to know what you're saying and how you're going to say it. But in order to get your nervous system regulated and the nervous system regulated of the person listening to you, you have to be tapped into your breath, okay? Because the moment that you're no longer tapped into your breath and the felt sensations of your breath, we start to squeeze here. The funny thing about the throat being tight is because that shows me that when you are not present, you control, right? Having tension here is a symptom of control. You're trying to stay controlled in the moment and like, I'm gonna show you that I can stand here and I will show you that I'm not gonna fall down on my face, right? You are still trying to control something by having your thought on whether the person listening to you is perceiving you correctly. And that's not being present, especially when you are someone who is trying to move someone with your words, trying to create impact to someone with your words. The best way that you can create impact is through staying connected to your breath. You have to realize that, you know how they say that when you are communicating with somebody, the majority of what they're getting is coming from your nonverbals. You have to understand that your breath and how your breath stabilizes you is influencing the way your nonverbals come across. Stabilizing to the breath, you're going to notice yourself slowing down when you speak, and that is normal. That is totally okay. When you're singing to your breath, you'll notice you'll go a little bit inward when you're speaking, and then people are like, okay, what are they going to say next? And that is a good thing, especially if you're a singer, you're somebody who's on stage that uses their voice. You want to create that anticipation. It's part of it. You don't want to just give it all right in that moment. If you're giving a speech, you don't want to just and then now your like 20-minute presentation was delivered in like 8 minutes because we were just going right through it. And the way to kind of keep ourselves regulated in those situations is sticking to the breath. If we're having issues with projection, guess what? It's the breath. Because at the end of the day, just like when we're doing our workouts and we lead with the breath to do our sets and our reps, it's the same thing when you're trying to project and be loud, resonant is a better word when we're speaking, is because we're leaning into those breath muscles for support. Okay, so if you feel your voice locking, think about for a second, how am I trying to control the situation? And instead of trying to control how other people are going to perceive you, control your breath. Control your breath and control how you are perceiving your own breath. And like always, take this into every other aspect of your life, right? If you're a singer, do it when you're with your kids, right? When my baby's having a meltdown, I'm there with him as he's having a meltdown, but I am breathing into my singer's breath and grounding here. And when I'm telling him, it's okay, you're sad, I understand, I am speaking and transmitting and regulating him through my own breath. That is how this happens, okay? You cannot control another person, but you can take control over yourself and how you are staying grounded in your body so that then you can regulate somebody else, okay? This is what I call vocal authorship. The vocal authorship, the non-singing part of vocal authorship, is the fact that you can regulate other people, right? When you're singing, if you're a singer, you write a song that people are so moved by, you were in your vocal authorship state, right? If you are with a friend who came to you distraught, and by the end of the day, they tell you, wow, I feel so much better now that I got to speak to you, not in like a trauma dumping kind of way, but like in a genuinely, like they are just need someone there for them. And you managed to regulate them through the fact that you were calm and could hold space for them. That is a state of vocal authorship. Okay? This is why singing is a way of life. It's a way of life, right? Using your voice, unlocking your voice is a way of life. And it's such a beautiful thing to experience. If you are curious to know how this works for you, uniquely you, because everybody's body is different, feel free to book a session. I have a link down below for those. And yeah, they're tiny micro shifts a lot of the time, but you come to me one way and we really create awareness, and then we send you out into the world to implement it into every aspect of your life. Not only is your singing going to get better, but your quality of experiencing life is going to get better. Okay? So that's all I have for you, and I will see you in the next one.